All right, ladies and gentlemen, so tomorrow, I decided to give you the quiz tomorrow, Tuesday. Today we'll practice more complementary and supplementary. Well, good. You should always prepare yourself for the unexpected. All right. Complementary versus supplementary.
How am I going to write? My fingers cut.
All right, complementary versus supplementary. Worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. Okay, so complementary versus supplementary. You're going to need to know the difference between complementary and supplementary. So, what does complementary look like?
90-degree angle, right angle.
Very good. 90-degree right angle. So that's complementary. What does complementary have to equal to?
90, 100. 100.
He stopped himself.
200.
So complementary has to be equal to 90 degrees because it looks like a 90-degree angle. A lot of it's visual. Like, what does this look like? Oh, it looks like 90 degrees.
The only reason why I know is because that's the right.
Yes. So if it looks like an L, 90 degrees. And then supplementary looks like what? A straight line. So if it looks like a straight line, then we have supplementary. And what does supplementary have to equal to?
180.
180 degrees. Okay? So part of it is visual. If it looks like 90, make it equal to 90. If it looks like 180, make it equal to 180. Okay? So now, what comes, here's a shortcut. What comes first, the C or the S in the alphabet? C. So what comes first, the 90 or the 180?
90.
So complementary C comes first, so 90 goes with the complementary. S is 180. That's if you don't have a picture. I think you can base it on the picture, right? So if it looks like 90, make it equal to 90. If it looks like 180, make it look like 180. I also remember as C for complementary. If I do this, what number does it look like? A 9, so 90. And then supplementary, watch, it's like magic. What does that look like? 8 in the 180? You know. So there's a couple of different ways. These are the tricks if you don't have a picture. If you just have a word problem. 2 complementary angles. One angle is 50. What's the second angle? And you're like, oh my gosh, there's no picture. What is it? Okay, complementary is the C, the 90 comes first numerically, comes first alphabetically. However you want to think about it. All right. So, what else is new? How's it going, everybody? Let's see. I want to practice, but before we practice, do we want to learn something new?
No.
So you just want to practice this or learn something new? Okay. Oh, do we know how to name everything?
Yeah.
So do you know the difference between acute, obtuse, right, and straight?
Cute is smaller
And
than 90,
reflex.
obtuse is bigger than 90.
I won't test you on reflex.
90 is bigger than
Reflex is bigger than 180.
So
Larger than 180. Cute
on
is
the
shorter than
on the test, you'll do complementary, supplementary, and then you'll identify, is this angle acute, obtuse, right, or straight? Are we okay with all of that? Are you okay with measuring using a protractor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard. Easy. Oh, right is 1. Right is 90.
Measuring is...
Sometimes they don't come out straight. Sometimes they come out straight. Just give us that. Bro, I cut myself with a glue stick.
Well, that's it.
I cut myself
You'll
with a
measure. You've been measuring on your homework,
glue stick. Yeah.
right? You'll measure.
No,
You solve. Yes. So, number 1, what does it have to equal? 90, so you know that.
X.
Do it.
So you're trying to solve for measure of angle DBC. So DBC, so it's this angle, right? 71. 10, 8, 71 equals X. So the measure of angle DBC is 71. So this side's like level 0. This side's level 0. Other side.
80, so it's level 100.
Totally.
What is the back?
Alright, second part of the lesson is vertical and adjacent angles. This would be the last thing I teach you with angles. So vertical and adjacent. Vertical and adjacent. Does anybody know what vertical means in like the real world?
Up,
Like up, down, left.
stocks.
Alright. So vertical angles
Baba Gorilla.
are congruent, opposite from each other, and
I'm not writing all that. Yes, you were, Kevin. I'm barely on vertical angles.
they share a vertex. Alright, so there's a lot of things happening in this definition. We'll break it down.
Bro, whenever I write, it looks like I'm
Huh?
you
I can't
look at
understand a single
how
word.
I write.
Are and congruent.
Angles are
It's a
congruent.
U.
Congruent. And they share a
I don't
vertex.
know what that is.
We'll break it down. We'll break it down. But first you gotta copy it down.
That looks like a V.
T-Rex.
The U looks like a
Yes, that's why I went back and I traced
What's
it.
a vertex?
I will go and break it down.
And it's
All that.
And it's congruent.
Really, what is other mean?
Yeah, seriously. And
Opposite. I think I've heard about it once.
What's the angle?
I've heard the word congruent before.
What is angle?
But you-
Oh, vertex is bigger than 180, so they have to be like.
no.
What is angle?
Oh, no, that's reflex. And
Okay. Let's break it down, ladies and gentlemen. You will be dealing with vertical angles in high school, so it's just not 7th grade. Complementary, supplementary, again, you'll also be doing in high school. All of what I'm teaching you right now will be back in high school. Okay, vertical angles are congruent. Does anybody know another word for congruent?
Opposite. Oh, the same.
Okay, congruent means equal in geometry. So congruent means equal in geometry. Okay? Opposite from each other. So like vertical, one's on top, one's on the bottom, right? Vertical from each other. And they share a vertex. A vertex, so here is an angle, right? Here's an angle that we've been drawing. This is, what kind of angle is this?
30,
Acute,
I think,
obtuse, acute. So a vertex, ladies and gentlemen,
What the point?
is the dot. Okay? That would be
Oh,
the
that's where you put
vertex.
the T.
Yes, that's where we put the upside down T. So the vertex is where the two lines connect to make an angle. So this, where they come together, where this line and this line come together, that is called a vertex.
So basically, instead of it being a T, it's just a T. Like it just represents.
Yeah, so I mean, I call it the upside down T because our protractors, it looks like an upside down T. Your geometry teacher will probably not call it the upside down T, but for me as a 7th grade math teacher, it's easy for you to go like, hey, upside down T, put it on the dot. The dot's real name is called a vertex. So your geometry teacher will be like, put the vertex on the upside down T. Well, she or he will not say upside down T, but proper vocabularies, the vertex will go there.
What did they say? Put the projector on the vertex?
Yeah. Center your protractor on the vertex. All right. So, vertical angles are shown when you have two lines that intercept each other. So here is one line, and here's the next line. Okay. So, how many angles did this two lines crossing each other create?
1.
4 angles.
That's what I said. I saw it.
Stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 angles, right? I had 2 straight angles, and now they are 4 angles. So I'll call this angle angle A, B, C, and D.
I know, me too.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like about Alex. For some of you, it will show you things before I do. Start learning. Okay, so which pair of angles are vertical angles? Can you identify the pair of vertical angles? So, which angles are opposite to each other? They're equal to each other, and they share a vertex. A and C. So, angle A is congruent to angle C. So, let's take a moment and realize, where did that come from?
Is that an N here?
It's, yes, but it means congruent in geometry. So it's the equal sign with the squiggly line. In geometry, that means congruent. Because we're extra special. So in geometry, we don't just write an equal sign. That's just too simple. We must add a squiggly little line. An Enya type of thing. All right. So vertical angles are congruent, which means they're equal. So if I were to use a protractor and measure it, this measures exactly 120. And if I were to rotate it, angle C is also 120. Okay? You can see it. Like if you don't have a protractor, do you see how this angle and this angle are equal to each other? They're like open the same way. They're opposite openings, but they are equal to each other. Do they share a vertex? Yes. So this would be our vertex here, right? Because that's where I would put the upside down T. So this is angle A. Let me trace it. This is where the two lines meet. This is angle C over here. And the only thing they share is that dot in the middle. It's the only thing that they share. They don't share a side. Notice that these pink lines don't cross each other. They don't overlap. All right, what other two angles are congruent or vertical? So angle B is congruent to angle D. Okay? You can see these two are both acute, right? B and D. Are they opposite from each other? Yes. What does opposite mean? One's on the right, the other one's on the left. One's on the top, one's on the bottom. So that makes them vertical, they're opposite. So to me, like this would be like the top, and this would be the bottom. If I go like that, maybe it's easier for you to see, top, bottom. This one's like left, right, so they're the opposite sides. If I were to trace this with a black marker, this is angle B right there. This is angle D right there. And the only thing they share is that vertex there. Why do we need to know about vertical angles? Well, if I tell you that the measure of angle A is 100 degrees, what else can you tell me?
And that the angle of C is also 100 degrees.
Measure of angle C is also
100 degrees.
100 degrees. Why? Because they're congruent. Congruent. If angle A is 100, that means angle C is 100. Okay, can someone tell me what is the measure of angle B?
130. No.
Shorter.
It's gonna be smaller.
So I'd say like 70. 60.
What happened? No, wait.
There's only one right answer.
75.
45, 55, 50, 55, 80,
90,
65,
40,
70, 75.
Okay, what if I do this?
4, 5. That's 75.
180.
65.
48.
What does the ruler represent?
180.
180. Because it's a what?
Straight.
Straight angle, right? What did I tell you A was?
100.
100. So therefore B has to be
80.
80.
Oh. Boom, bada, bada. Oh, okay. I get it.
I said every number in the alphabet.
I get it.
All right. So angle B
How do you count it?
measures 80 degrees because if this is 100 degrees and this is X, we have a straight line right there. It's a straight angle. We just did how many problems on that worksheet that you set it equal to 100, right? So you have to be able to like, wait a minute, if I get rid of the bottom part, I have a straight angle. So it's 80 degrees. What is the measure of angle D?
80.
80 degrees. Now, because they're vertical from each other, so if B is 80, then D is 80. You can also look at this. If we cover this up, what kind of angle do I have right there?
Supplementary.
Supplementary angles. Very good. Good use of vocabulary.
Yard.
All right. So we'll do one more. I have two intersecting lines here.
Yeah.
Two intersecting lines, A, B, C, D,
E,
E,
F,
F, E, F, G, H.
Does it matter if I drop it?
Ish. All right. So can you tell me which ones are vertical from each other?
E, and H.
Which angles? Angle what? FH. F is congruent to angle H. So these two are opposite from each other. One's on like the top, one's on the bottom. And angle E is congruent to angle G. So one's like on the left and one's on the right in my eyes. Okay. I'm going to tell you that angle E is 120 degrees. Can you tell me the rest? I can give you one angle and you should be able to mathematically tell me the rest of the angles, all three of them.
G is 120. F is 60 and H is 60. Yeah.
Why is it 60?
Because it's a straight
180
angle.
minus 100.
Why am I trying to write my eraser, bro? Like,
So the easiest one is the vertical angles. If this is 120, then you know that this is 120, right? Because they have to be equal from each other. Now, the other ones is now, wait a minute, these are now supplementary. What does supplementary mean? 180. That means that this plus this has to equal 180, right? I have 120, so that means, I shouldn't do that. So that means that F is equal to 60. Because I got to do 120, subtract that from 180, that gives you 60. So that means that H is 60 degrees. If I add up 120 plus 60 plus 120 plus 60, does anybody know what that equals? What's 120 plus 60 plus 120 plus 60?
120 plus 120 is
360?
Yes.
360.
And 360, what does that look like?
Circle.
A whole circle. So you went all the way around in one big circle. How many total angle is that?
That's
360.
360.
Okay, let me break this down just in case you still don't understand. If I do angle E plus angle F, that has to all equal 180. That's when you cover this up and you're like, oh, look at that. It's a supplementary. I know angle E is 120 plus angle F has to equal 180. That's how we got 60, because we know that E and F. Could I have done E and H? Yes, that's also 180. I could also done H and G or F and G. All of them will get you your missing angles. Are we okay? Do you want an easy one or a hard one?
I thought we were done. Oh.
No.
You said that was the last one.
Did I?
Yeah, you said one more.
No, no.
Oh, one more. Okay, cool.
No, you said.
I won't give you a hard one. I'll give you an easy one.
Me.
Yeah.
J. Okay, stop. Everybody
Ooh,
is
Shirley
guilty.
said shut up.
Okay, everybody be quiet.
Come on, I said that to me for you.
Everybody be quiet. Okay, J is equal to 135 degrees. Tell me everything else.
35?
135. Quietly, don't shout. So, identify your vertical angles. Which one are my vertical angles?
J is.
J
L.
is congruent to angle L, and angle K is congruent to angle M. So what is the measure of angle L?
135.
What is the measure of angle K?
45.
What is the measure of angle M?
45.
Good. Why? Because J plus K is equal to 180. So J was 135 plus K equals 180. And then you can do what we did in the worksheet.